This video will be on IMapp property reports. And today we're just going to take a closer look at what a property report is, what the data on it is, where the data comes from, and just give you a better understanding of what you're working with. So on the top left hand corner here, if we go all the way up to the top left hand side, very first line item is going to be the folio or the PID. Below that we're going to have the residential and the physical property address. Of course, right here is the owner name, and then if the property is non-owner occupied, if this address right here is not the same address as this right here, we're going to say it's non-owner occupied, but this address will always be the tax mailing address of the owner. So this is always the address. If you're trying to get it to the owner, get a message to the owner, mail them something, this is always the address to use. Below this, we're going to have the property use, and we're going to have a use code. We're going to have a land use, we're going to have zoning, and then the lot size, and then just below this, just a bunch of the legal. Okay? If you're ever looking at one of these sections on the property report, if you're looking at this and just something doesn't seem right, go right up here to the top left hand corner, click on the link on the folio, and it's going to bring you back to the county. And this is everything that IMapp is doing its best job to replicate. But this is also the ultimate authority. Okay? So if you ever see something here that just seems out of place, just go up here, click on this, come back to this page, and double verify it. And then down below this, we're going to have the value information. The value of what we're looking at here with the value information is this is going to be the last 5 years of taxes. So this isn't like a Redfin or a Zillow or anything like that. It's the last 5 years of taxes. And when we're looking at this value information, we're seeing it as a pink bubble, and it's got a link here for the county tax collector. And when you see this, we're asking you to click on this. Okay, so when you click on this, it's going to bring you back to the county site, and we can still see that there's amounts due. Okay, and why we want you to click on this is IMapp is not updating the taxes daily or weekly. I think it may just be on a monthly schedule. And so we won't know if whoever you may be working with, a client or just anybody, if they paid their taxes yesterday or the day before. This may be only updating on a monthly basis. So if you're seeing this, and then you're also using IMapp, as many of you do, for your MLS autofill for the MLS listings and for some of your contracts and forms, we just want to make sure that you have the most correct information. So this is one of those times where we're going to ask you just to click this link. Okay. Now with we're also seeing right here that it has located in an opportunity zone. And we have another video that's on search screens and prospecting. We tell you how to search for these specific properties, but and this video isn't really the place to try to inform you about opportunity zones on a video like this. It'd probably be a couple hours long. But in a nutshell, opportunity zone program is if you buy one of these properties that's in an opportunity zone, the end result is what you're working your way towards is zero capital gains tax. It is a very exciting. And below this, we're going to have the sales information. It's going to be right here. And sales information will be in chronological order. If you look over here to the left hand side, you're going to start seeing things such as instrument dates and different mortgages. Sometimes you're going to see mortgage rates. And then over here on the right hand side, you're going to have the book and page. So if you click on this link right here, the book and page, it's going to bring you back to the county. And then when you come here, you can also click on the first link here, I guess would be corresponding to your record. Click on this. It's going to open up another field. And then we can click on, you get some data from here, just verify what you're looking at. But you can also, this might be a good one to print. You might want to do a print screen on this. So I'm going to close this. So you actually get the doc image. I'm going to close this screen too. And just a little bit more information about the sales information. Throughout Florida, we should be getting daily sales updates from the various counties. There are a couple counties out there throughout Florida that where if we're not getting it daily, maybe for some of the smaller counties with a smaller population, we might be only getting those weekly, but they should be updating daily. Now, it's not to say that a sale would happen in the MLS today. So like if we look at the sales information, we can see that there's some R logos in here. And if we were to click on these R logos, I'll just do that. It brings you to the listing information. But there could have been a sale that happened through the MLS like today or yesterday or even last week, and it might not be recorded with the county yet. So to reframe that statement is we should be getting daily sales updates as things are being recorded with the county. Okay, and then what you're also seeing here too is you have some qualifiers. So a Q is qualified, then a U is unqualified. And if you'd like to learn more about that, if you come down here to the bottom of the section, there's going to be some qualifier flags. And if you'd really like to dig into this and see how they're qualifying things in different counties, I would recommend that you contact your county clerk of courts and just ask for some more information about that. And below this, we're going to have the building information. And the building information is a data set that we do purchase from the counties, but it is something that we're not updating daily or even weekly. I'm not really sure what the schedule on this one is, but I know it's on a set schedule throughout the year. And then below this, we're going to have the assigned schools. And the assigned schools were something that we loaded in back in 2016. Seems like all of the MLSs were asking for this. I just want to throw a little side comment in here about the assigned schools information. Every once in a while, we'll get us, someone will send in a support email or do a phone call with us, and they'll have questions about the grading. And so when it comes to this section, if you look here at the bottom of the section, this is National Center for Education Statistics and Florida Department of Education. You'll be able to see that we're pulling data directly from them, and this is really a what you see is what you get. So every once in a while, we'll have someone call in where their own neighborhood or their client's neighborhood isn't being portrayed in the way they would choose, but it really goes back to National Center for Education Statistics and Florida Department of Education. Below this, we're going to have the flood zones. And the flood zone details, the company itself, Property Key, IMapp, is located in Minnesota. It's always where it's been. And we're not going to portray ourselves as flood zone experts on this video. What I can tell you from my personal experience from looking at thousands of IMapp property reports, that I predominantly see three codes. Not just three, but predominantly. And it's just AE, AH, and X. Now when FEMA updates their information, you can see this was updated on 9/23 of 2020. When FEMA updates their information, we do update and sync right alongside with them. So as they update a county, we should be updating a county as well. So now we're down here at the very bottom of the page, and where the click here to enter a support request is, and the 800 number. And what's going on with this is, if it is at any point when you're looking at this page or any page on IMapp, that link down there is down there with the phone number on every page. But if you're looking at the page and you see like maybe the owner name, for some reason the owner name is wrong, you went up here to the top and you verified that and you saw that it was wrong, we want to know about that. If anything on this page isn't working, you click on something, it doesn't work correctly, come down here to the bottom of the page, say click here, right here. Click here to enter a support request and just tell us what's going on. So when you click on this, it's going to autocomplete your email address and your name already for you. It's because we're on a property report, it's going to say property report, and you just tell us, owner name is wrong, last sale is wrong, whatever it may be, let us know. You can also go right here and go into the drop down, say comment suggestion, and say, hey, how come you guys aren't collecting this type of data? We need this type of data. Can you get it? And ask us. Bug us about it. Okay? So I'm going to close this really quick. And then there's also the 800 number right here. And the 800 number, Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Central. So we're an hour behind you guys in Florida. 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. somebody will answer this phone. Okay, so now let's scooch you on back up to the top of the screen and let's talk about the map. So the map by default is going to be interactive. So if I go over here to the right hand side, I'm just going to click on one of these buttons here. It's going to zoom me in closer. And if we click on a parcel, we're just going to get some of that basic parcel information. So right here we got a pop-up bubble. If I click on that, it's going to take me to that property. And if I hit the back arrow on my mouse, it's going to bring us back to the same property we were just on. So by default it's interactive. And you can have different views here. So, well, first what I want to say is, so you just saw me zoom, and the zoom bar is right up here at the top. So it's a series of dots. If we zoom into the first dot, it's going to bring us right into the parcel, and the corresponding dots are just different elevations. And then you can pan the map. So if I come down here and I say click pan map, grabs the map, moves it all over the place. Okay, so you can reorient things. So you can zoom in, zoom out, move it around. When you're done moving the map, when you get done using the pan tool, you'll want to just click on identify again. You can also, if you zoom into the first first dot here on the parcel level. So when we're looking at the map right here, you can see there's a red icon, and that's the subject property that we're on right now. If I click on this, I'm going to get a pop-up, 111 Northeast 82nd Terrace. And if I go over here and I say measure, and I click on the measure tool, if we just double click in there, we're going to get the full totals on that. We click back on measure, it removes it. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here. And then if you click on the measure tool again, now you can draw polygons and measure distances. Okay. And then you do have different views for the map. So, so right now we're on a street map. If you click into here, you can say parcel property type. And you click in here again, you can have a street map. Click in here again. So we were just talking about flood zones. So if you click in here again, we can get flood zones. You can display the flood zone information. So I'm going to click on this. And if I was actually going to do this, I would, with the flood zone, I'd move it up here, and then I would come down here a little ways down, and where it says small map right here, and the show report sections, right here, I would click on small map, change it to large map. And then when you have a large map, then you can click back on pan map, and you can move it around or reorient it. And once you have it, to a view that fits your needs, you do have a small, medium, large, and extra large download that you can download. Okay. I'm just going to bring this back to a small map. I'm also going to bring this back to a different view for myself. We'll say a street map. And then what you haven't seen on the map so far is that you do have flags that you can place on the map. By default, they might be turned on for you. I have mine turned off right now. But if I were to click on this active right here, and the expired, and the pending, and the closed, and the canceled, so you can toggle these on and off. Just remember, when you leave IMapp, it's going to remember how you left it. So if you're turning off flags and you log in again, your flags are going to be turned off. I want to turn all these off again. Well, before I do that, let's talk about some of these flags actually. So we talked about identifying parcels, and one thing I forgot to mention about this was, so when you're looking at a parcel, you can click on it, you get, well, I still have it on pan map, so I'm breaking my own rules here. I'm going to click identify, go right here, click identify, and then when you click on a map, or a flag, I'm sorry, you're going to get some basic pop-up information, but you're going to see the tax information on the bottom half. This is everything where I'm moving my mouse. The property report we're on now, this is the tax information, property tax information report. But on top here, you're going to see there's two flags in this little window here. The top one is active, and the bottom one below that is expired. And if we were to click on, say, the top one, the active one, it would bring us to that MLS listing. And this would be the MLS listing overview. So you can turn on and off the flags. And I'm going to refresh my browser really quick and just lock this in. So you can turn the flags on and off to suit your needs. Let's do a storyline here. And this is one of the probably the top 3 used features of the property report, is that a buyer's agent or a listing agent or just anybody that wants to do some sort of circle prospecting will come to a property report like this. Let's say you were just a listing agent and you wanted to circle prospect to the surrounding area and let them know, that you just had a sale here, and let them know that you are the expert. Okay, so once you go over here and you zoom in and you zoom out and you have a view that fits your needs with the panning and the zooming, and then you can come down right here where there's a circle, a square, and a polygon. I'm going to click on the square just to keep it simple. Click on that once. Then I'm going to go back up to the map, and I'm just going to outline an area around the map. When I let my mouse go, it snaps it into a new search. And what we see quite a few realtors doing is they come right up here and they'll say create mail labels. And that's one way of doing that. I think at the very minimum, if you're going to do this, when you come to this screen right here, I think at the very minimum you should come back up here and say refine this search, and you can see that you have your map area sectioned off here. And I think at the minimum you should give it a property type. Do you really want to send mail to potentially gas stations or laundromats or people that just bought their home, say in the last 4 days? So we can go in here and we can say single family home if you're only trying to market to single family homes. And then you can come up here to the sale date field and we could say, and this would be up to you if you're going to use the sale date field or not. We can say less than or equal to, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this once, and I'm going to click on today's date to cheat, and I'm just going to change this. I'm going to say 2015. And so what I'm looking for here is I don't want to see, I'm going to hit start search, but I don't want to see any sales in my search that happened after 2015. I want to see everything less than or equal to 11/12/2015. Do a start search, and now we have significantly less. So you might want to pull in a bigger map area, or zoom out a little bit farther and pull in more if you wanted to do a bigger mail out. But at least now it's single family homes, and maybe it's like a year range that you were trying to target to. Okay, I'm just going to click on any one of these at random and just continue forward. Now there is one thing that I did forget on this page, and it's right here. It's going to say custom map layers, and I'm going to click into here. Before I do that, I just want to give you a pre-warning. There is no preset revert back to original IMapp settings when you go in here. Okay, so when we click into here, and holy smoly, we got a lot of options. So what you can do is you can change just the layers of the map and kind of make it more of your own. Okay, but again, you're not seeing a button anywhere in here that says revert to defaults or save as default, or so we've had some people come in here and get really creative, and when they call the support line, what we're actually doing with you, I just want you to know in case this happens to you, what we're going to be doing with you on the phone is we're going to be clicking each one of these until we get it back to the way it was. Okay, so I'm going to close this again, and right up here we're going to have a print this page, so you can print the page. You can also save it as a PDF. If you click on this, it's just going to open up another dialog box, say save as a PDF, and I'm going to come back to this just in a second. And then on email this page, when you email this page, a good rule of thumb would be to CC yourself. Just go right here, click send CC to myself. The reason for that is with just the amount of people that use IMapp and sending emails from IMapp reports from the system to people that they're working with, they're also sending it to people that they may not be currently working with anymore or are trying to attract their business. So if they're not working with them and they're sending them emails, and if that person gets that email from that IMapp sent out for you, and they click block or just whatever, dismiss, the email providers start to take notice of that after a while. And at some point they'll push this over to the spam folder. I haven't seen it happen in quite some time. But if that were to happen to you, it's a good idea to CC yourself. And then if your client says, well, I didn't get the email, you just open up your phone, look at the email that you sent yourself, hit forward, and send it to them. Okay? Now, the other thing with this email this page is we due to the amount of people that do use IMapp, there's an extraordinary amount of emails that can be sent in a day. We meter some of the traffic so we don't look like a spam bot, like we're just sending out thousands of random emails all over the place. We meter that out. So when you click send email, it could be 2 or 3, and I just had somebody on the phone the other day where on the phone she was doing it live with me, and it was about 4 or 5 minutes. It was just a metered, sending out the emails were being metered. So I just want you to be aware of that too. When I just said I'm going to get back to this in a second with the PDF, what I was going to get back to is, so when you create the PDF, when you open the PDF, we've all seen in some PDFs they have a white space. There'll be a page, maybe a couple pages in the PDF, and in between the pages, really big white spaces. And you're going to notice on IMapp, depending on the amount of sales that you have, you might have more pages. A way to get around some of that is on any page of IMapp, and the next section I'm going to be going to really quick is the MLS section. So I'm just going to click on this really quick and show you. And this counts for these sections as well that are in the MLS section. Okay, I'm going to go right back here and click property tax and go back here again. To mitigate some of the problems with the PDF creation with just too many pages or whatnot, or sections that you don't even want, you can, right here in the value information, there's an arrow button right here. If you click this, it just rolls it up. If you go down to the mortgage information, it just rolls it up. Or you can also just click on the X, and you can do that on that page we were just on with the MLS information. Click on this, and you can just get rid of all this. So if there's some reason that your client doesn't need to see if they're in a condo and the flood zone isn't really that important to them, you could remove this. If they're snowbirds and they don't have children, you could remove this. Just remember that when you come back to IMapp, you remove these sections, and later that day or the next day you come back in IMapp, it's going to remember how you left it. And we do get the calls, the support tickets and the calls saying, hey, where's my sales information? Or hey, where's my value information? And it's right over here. It's just tucked right over here in the corner. So I click property value, brings that back. This is something you probably haven't seen yet. If I click the value trend chart, I usually keep this turned off. This right here is the value trend chart. So just show you what that is. And then sales history, building information, area schools, and flood zones. And now we have everything back to normal. So we do want you to be able to, to try to customize this to a degree to make it more of your own. And next thing we're going to go into is we have RPR. So I'm not a member of NAR. I'm not a dues paying member, and I'm not a member of MLS. If I click on this button here, I'm just going to hit the paywall to sign up, or give them my login information. But this is here for auxiliary data. If there's something IMapp doesn't have and you just want a secondary source to check, RPR is a pretty good source. You have Google Maps. We all know what Google Maps is, and Google driving directions, Big Maps. If we click into here, demographics, then we have some different graphics here, and we get some different views with this. So you can go over here and you can change these graphs and charts to, by a quarter mile, by a half mile, and so on. Okay, I'm going to go back up here again and click on property tax. And then the next one that we have here, this is something that you're going to want to talk to your broker about if it's going to be hyper localized. So we're going to, we talked about how far we were going to talk about this one. And this by itself could be another half hour, 40-minute long video. But it really falls into that broker realm too in some points. So we're just going to show you how this works. Okay, so you have the MLS stats with the absorption rates. You can go over here and you can say include properties, and you can dial it into like a zip code, or from this city, or from this county. You can also go down here and you can just make sure that you have settings here that you can change. We go in here into single family, all residential, condominiums, single family. If we go price ranges, you're going to have some ranges in here to dial things in with, and then a time frame. Okay, and I'm going to go back up here again, and so you've seen me clicking on some different links here, on this page, and I'm in a perpetual state of kind of always learning something new, like a different system, a CRM, or trying to play around with a new database tool for my own use. And one of the things that always catches me off guard is when I get a new system or just something new to log into, is navigation. I don't want to click on too many things. I don't want to bounce around too much because I don't want to get lost, and I don't want to change things because I might break it. I mean, who knows? It might not end up the way that it was just 5 minutes ago when I logged in, right? So navigation in IMapp is really simple. Right now we're on the MLS statistics, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to click property tax. We click on property tax, it brings us on this page. We've been on this whole video. Okay, a little while ago I clicked on demographics, brought us to demographics. I'm going to go back up here to property tax, and then the next one that I'm going to click on is the MLS listing info. And there's two ways that we can look at this, or two ways that we can get to it. So I'm going to turn on some MLS flags here. I'm just going to turn on the pendings and the actives. And so when we're looking at the flag, we did find out if we clicked on the flag, we could just click on this top part here and go to that listing information. Also, for the majority of users in Florida, they're all licensed realtors, part of an MLS. The only time you're going to be able to see MLS information is if you're a member of that MLS. So if you're a member of the beaches, or if you're a member of Miami, or Stellar, or Space Coast, or Gulf and Franklin, wherever it may be. If you're not a member of that MLS, you're not going to be able to see their MLS information. But also, if there isn't any MLS information available for this specific address, you just won't have this link right here. You won't even see it. It won't be there. Also, if you go down to the sales information, I'm going to open up this drawer. Generally, sometimes, here, you know what, I'm just going to go to a different property and do this from that. So I'm going to go over here. And when we're looking at the sales information, you're going to see you have an R logo right here. So if we click on the R logo, this will bring us to the listing information. It brings us right to the overview. But also, so we know that sale had the realtor involved in it. You're only going to see that R logo when there was a realtor involved in that sale. So we know if we click on that, we can get to the MLS information. But also up here at the very top, there's a link that says MLS listing info. Let's click on that. And this is just a listing overview. At the top up here, you have the gallery on the left-hand side, the listing overview. This is another one of those data sets, when we're talking about the school information, where it's just what you see is what you get. Your MLS, we partner with your MLS, and they send us over certain, I think of this as a field, the status as a field. They send us over a certain amount of fields that are populated throughout the day with different listing activity, and we just make it viewable for you. Below this, you're going to have the residential property information, the residential building information. You're going to have the realtor remarks. You can change this page a little bit. As we've been moving along, I've been saying, hey, you might want to print this page or save it as a PDF. You can change this page a little bit. And if you come up here to the right-hand side and you just click MLS and tax combined, click on this, it's going to pull in a little bit more data. So now we have a street map, we have a parcel map, some more of the property information, tax valuation information, the sales, and some more of the assessor. When we were talking about the PDF and removing sections, we really made this page longer. So, if you were going to just consolidate and not print a bunch of pages and you wanted to try to get as much information on one page, you could look at this and say, well, is the building information important? It may be, but as an example, you can just remove these sections as well here for when you're creating PDFs. And I'm just going to add these back again. And then on the right hand side here, we're seeing the listing history. And so we clicked on MLS information, and if we go up to the very top of this section here and we click on the first one, you can see where we can start at the top, and then we can just start going back in time. Okay, so this is a listing previous to that, and a listing previous to that, listing previous to that. Well, that was rented, and this one was rented. So you can go back in time a little bit and investigate. You have some pictures of what the property may have looked like. You maybe get, if you're going up here and you were on the comparables page and you were researching the comparables you were thinking about using, you might glean some more information out of here from the realtor remarks and such. It's always good to have a good idea of what the property looks like. So good, something that isn't a Google photo or a Bing photo, something, that a realtor would have been involved with that shows you what the property looks like. That's the best bet right there, as long as with their remarks, why it sold for less or why it sold for more. But this is a good research page. Some of these have quite a bit of history, and then others have none. But so I'm going to go back up here again, and I'm just going to click on property tax. I thought I clicked on property tax. Click on that again, and this video has been IMapp property reports. Have a good one.